The moon never moved. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. 29 years later, and the Sanderson sisters are back. Before I go any further, just to let you know, there are definitely spoilers because I need to really discuss this movie. So this time around, we have some new characters in our three main protagonists: Whitney Peak, Belissa Escobedo, and Lilia Buckingham. It also stars Sam Richardson, Freud Gutierrez, Tony Hale, and Doug Jones comes back as Billy. This time around is directed by Ann Fletcher. The first was actually directed by Kenny Ortega. So this time around, a black flame candle is lit again by Whitney Peak's character, Becca, on her 16th birthday. The film opens up with a flashback to when the sisters are much younger. Winnie, I believe, is 16 years old. Her parents are no longer alive, and so she's taking care of her younger sisters. The reverend of the town is trying to force her to marry since she's older now, and she refuses, and so they try to take her sisters away. So they escape into the woods and they meet the witch mother. And she's the one who explains to them about the forbidden wood and gives them book. So Becca and her friend Izzy used to be close friends with Cassie, and they have this ritual on Becca's birthday, which is on All Hallows Eve, to go into the forbidden wood. They light a candle and they chant, have a good old time. It seems that Cassie is somewhat estranged from them now. She has a popular football boyfriend, and through some miscommunication, none of them are close anymore. So like I said, the witches get brought back, and it's up to Becca, Izzy, and Cassie to stop them. Winifred this time is done with eating children, and she wants to do the ultimate spell. That's my dog and my cat. She wants to do this spell that's going to give her ultimate power, and she won't have to worry about anything ever again. And they enlist the help of Gilbert, who is played by Sam Richardson, to help them gather all the necessary ingredients they need for this spell. And this includes the head of Billy. I will say this, it was great seeing Bette Midler and Kathy Najimy and Sarah Jessica Parker back together as the witches. So with that being said, any sequel that comes out more than 10 years after the original, I am not expecting much. They usually aren't the greatest films. I can only think of a handful of films that came out years or even more than a decade after the original that were still good. I'm going to get into the things I liked about this movie first. The Sanderson sisters are great. They're the best that they can be. It was great seeing them on screen. I also like the witch mother. I thought they could have done more with her. She appears out of nowhere and then gives them the book, and then she disappears, and we never learn anything else about her again. I think they could have done a whole lot more with her. Of course, the CGI is a lot better this time around. That was great to see. I also did like how the girls tricked them when they took them to Walgreens, telling them that there were potions there with things that, could make look young again. And when they took a picture with some kids dressed up as the Sanderson sisters, the filter made them look young. I thought that was pretty funny. There definitely were some funny moments in this movie. I will say that. One of the things I left out is the character of Book. I do like that they expanded on his character. We learned that he does have a personality. He has feelings. He's kind of like the conscience of this movie. And I did like that they gave him some character development, even though some of the other characters didn't really get character development. Another thing that I really did like was the ending. I think it was great how Winnie really did love her sisters, and that was the ultimate sacrifice. And getting her sisters back was so much more important to her than the ultimate power. And then she got to be with them. And I thought that was a great send-off. I really think that was written very, very well compared to the rest of the movie. That was probably my favorite part of the entire movie. Now, into some of the things I didn't like, I definitely feel like there was a lot of overacting. And I'm not talking about the Sanderson sisters. I feel like every other character, with the exception of Becca, there was a lot of overacting. And it was just painful to watch. And because of the overacting, none of these characters seem real. Becca and Izzy seem more realistic than the other characters, but everyone else, they just didn't seem authentic. They just seemed like these were caricatures of people, of teenagers, of adults. It just didn't fit. And it seemed like they were really trying to make them be funny, and it just didn't work. Now, I get it. This film was not for adults. They had to cater to a younger audience. I completely get that because the first one catered to a younger audience. But I feel like they catered too much and it just wasn't authentic. Wasn't real. Another thing with them trying to be too funny, I feel like they tried to make Billy way too funny and that didn't come off right. As great as Doug Jones is, I didn't like him in this movie, and I always like his characters. I always like his portrayals because he is just amazing. But I didn't like him in this. They seemed to try and make him be too funny, and it didn't work. So subtlety is sometimes better. When the Sanderson sisters are first brought back by the Black Flame Candle, they go into this musical number as soon as they awaken. I thought that was out of place. I mean, it was great seeing them, and it was great to see them singing and dancing, but that just fell out of place, especially later on when they sing, "I'm Gonna Get You." And I think that was a great scene. That was a great song, and it was a great scene to see them do. But when they first wake up and they sing, it just was so out of place. Also, Gilbert helping the sisters, that was fine. I just feel like they could have made his reasoning a lot better. Apparently, back in 1993, he saw the sisters flying through the air, followed them to the cemetery, where Max, Allison, and Danny kill them, and he decides he wants to help bring them back. And so he's the one who creates another Black Flame Candle with the help of Book to bring the sisters back. They really could have, I feel like there could have been an easier or more believable reason why he did this. He could have been one of the people at the party with the parents when the sisters were singing and he became infatuated with them and had been trying to find a way to bring them back that way. They could have just cast an older character for that role to pull that off. I think that was way more plausible. Also, how the sisters get Book, even though I liked the character of the witch mother, it was just so out of place. It's like, oh yeah, this is the Forbidden Wood and you're a witch and here's the book and goodbye. There could have been a more reasonable explanation for how they got Book. Something else I didn't like, they did not have not one cameo from the original cast. It would have been great to have seen Max or Danny or Allison in this movie, even if it was just a small cameo. I really wish they incorporated them in this story somehow. When I heard there was going to be a sequel, I thought maybe, oh, Danny's all grown up, she has children of her own, and somehow the witches come back and they try to get revenge on Danny. That would have been a great storyline. One last thing that really bothered me in this movie, and it's just a personal thing, but the moon never moved. These girls were running around the town, doing all this stuff, going to different locations, and the moon never moved. It was always at like chest level. And I'm like, hours had to have passed, and the moon should have been up in the middle of the sky at a certain point. And that really bugged me seeing it like that. But again, like I said, I was not expecting much from this movie. It was just great to see the sisters back, and it was great to see how their lives came full circle. And you got to see some humanity and compassion and love from Winifred for her sisters. You can check it out if you want. I'm pretty sure a younger audience will like it, which is perfectly fine. But this is a movie I probably won't watch again on my own, and there's nothing wrong with that. But guys, that's it for my review. Check out my other videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.